News Talk KVNU, 610 AM at 102.1 FM.
KVNU News Time is 5:03. I'm Bill Walter with this news update brought to you by Mount Logan Laundry. A controversial bill introduced in the Utah State Legislature seeks to replace diversity, equity, and inclusion offices on college campuses with new ones intended to focus on a broader range of students. The bill, made public Thursday night, reworks DEI initiatives that have come under fire from Utah political leaders, including Governor Spencer Cox. Its sponsors said they would prohibit diversity statements in job applications. Recently, the University of Utah made moves to abandon such statements in hiring. The Utah System of Higher Education also passed a resolution supporting free expression on campuses. The biggest part of the bill would essentially rebrand DEI offices on college and university campuses in Utah as student success offices. Senator Keith Grover, Republican from Provo, disputed that they were abolishing DEI offices entirely, but the bill is already generating pushback. Darlene McDonald, who heads the One Utah Project and is part of the Utah Black Roundtable, said she has issues with the bill as it is written. KVNU News Time is 5:04. KVNU weather for tonight. We do have a wind chill warning out for the Cache Valley with dangerous wind chills later on tonight between 9 p.m. to 9 a.m. Tuesday. It'll feel like minus 10 to minus 20. Our overnight low tonight, air temperature is going to be around minus 2 with increasing clouds. Partly cloudy skies tomorrow, high temperature in the mid-20s. And then more snow in the forecast for late Tuesday night into Wednesday. But with Wednesday's highs expected to be in the mid-30s, around 36, could see a rain-snow mix by afternoon on Wednesday. Our high temperature this afternoon has been 19. Right now it's 15 degrees at KVNU. The guys at Whole Tree Care trim trees all winter. In fact, winter is the best time to trim because visibility is perfect with no leaves. Plus, your trees are dormant, making it easier on your trees. Call 435-760-6587.
The colder weather is here. Are your quilts and blankets looking dingy? Is your winter coat or jacket dirty enough to stand in the corner just by itself? Well, go to Mount Logan Laundry. It'll take no time at all to freshen up everything. They have the 55 and 80-pound washers, the biggest around, and great big dryers, too, and it costs a whole lot less than dry cleaning. Free Wi-Fi and drop-off service. Mount Logan Laundry really is the cleanest spot in town on the corner of 5th East, 9th North in Logan, or in Brigham at 1st East, 7th South. Mount Logan Laundry.
KVNU News Time is 5:06. An early morning fire this morning destroyed a barn containing a restaurant, ticketing offices, and business offices at the Nordic Valley Ski Resort in Weber County, according to officials. Nordic Valley posted on their social media account saying authorities went to work right away in putting out the fire. However, the entire structure was damaged. Due to the damage, Nordic Valley said it would be closed until it can get the equipment needed to print and validate tickets to the resort. Nordic Valley said in their social media post they are working as hard as they can to get back up and running to welcome guests back to the mountain and will update information as it comes in. Details about what may have started the fire were not immediately available. There were no reported injuries. Anyone who has already purchased lift tickets will receive a credit to return to the resort on another date. According to the Ski Utah Snow Report, Nordic Valley recently saw a bump in snow totals thanks to the recent storms that passed through the state. In the last 48 hours, resort officials recorded 17 inches of snow, new snow, bringing its year-to-date total to 61 inches. And fire officials are reminding pet owners to stay safe and vigilant in winter conditions after a dog was unable to pull himself out of a body of water. They said Bob, the dog, loves water, but the ice shelf prevented him from being able to get out. North Davis Fire District officials shared Sunday to please be safe with your pets and children as ice conditions are still not as safe as you might think. They said one firefighters One firefighter, though, made his way out to Bob while the rest of the rescue crew stayed on the bank to ensure that they both stayed safe. KBNU News Time is 5:08. For more details on these and other stories, visit CashValleyDaily.com.
With fresh snow comes fresh deals at Murdoch GMC Chevrolet Cadillac. Make some fresh tracks to our winter sales event. In this season, our Murdoch vehicles are perfect for making fresh tracks to winter fun. Right now, receive up to $8,000 off a new 2024 GMC Sierra 1500. When you walk through our doors, you feel like family. At Murdoch Chevrolet GMC Cadillac in Logan or online at MurdochChevroletLogan.com. GMC, we are professional grade.
Call 866-628-3065 or see dealer for complete details. Offer expires 1/31/24.
Glenn Beck.
Let me play a little bit of the testimony on Capitol Hill from the presidents of Harvard, MIT, and Penn. They were asked about, the calls for genocide of all the Jews on their campus. Listen to this.
I've heard chants, which can be anti-Semitic depending on the context, and calling for the elimination of the Jewish people.
Okay.
Well, sometimes when you call for the genocide of Jewish people, you're not being anti-Semitic at all.
Right.
The Glenn Beck Program.
Sunday afternoons from 2 to 5 on News Talk KVNU.
Join us each week for music and the spoken word featuring the Tabernacle Choir at Temple Square, the longest-running continuous weekly network broadcasting the world. Each episode features modern and traditional arrangements of spiritual, classical, and contemporary music, and a timely, inspiring message. Truly an uplifting program that will have you returning each week. Music and the spoken word with the Tabernacle Choir.
Sunday mornings at 8 and again in the afternoons at 6 on News Talk KVNU.
Over the years, you've brought them into your home. You were prescribed opioids after the C-section and after Dad's back injury. They helped when you were in pain, and you held on to them just in case. But did you know holding on to unused opioids puts your family at risk? Trouble with opioids can start at home with unused medicines such as pills, patches, and syrups. You can remove the risk and protect your family. Find out how at www.fda.gov/drug disposal.
Get on board. The water is open. It's time to go boating and fishing and leave stress in our wake. Feel the wind as we ride and a fish on the line. Reel in our first catch and feel the sun at our backs. It's get out on the water season. It's time to get on board. Find out where to get on board near you. Visit Take Me Fishing and Discover Boating to learn more. And please recreate responsibly.
Get on board. Get on board. If you love them enough to listen to them practice the same song on tuba,
please be done.
Over and over and over and over and over, then surely you'll check NHTSA.gov/the right seat to make sure they're correctly buckled in the back seat.
Sounds good, honey.
Check today at NHTSA.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
As you get older, it's more important than ever to eat healthy. But that can be hard for those of us who are retired and living on a fixed income, especially during COVID-19. A friend told me about benefitscheckup.org. It's a free website from the National Council on Aging, and it's helped millions of older Americans pay for healthy food. Maybe it can help you. Benefitscheckup.org. You've earned this. This message is supported by the Administration for Community Living.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
Quick shout out to Michael and Melissa Ballum. I don't have permission to tell the story. I'll see if I can get it from the Ballums. But man, just in between hours, got word from one of our sales staff. They did one of the nicest things I've seen in a really long time. to recognize a community member who did something good recently. So, Michael, Melissa Ballum, if you're out there listening, or if anyone who knows them is out there listening, tell them, 4 stars, hats off, 2 thumbs up. Very nice thing to do, unsolicited and unnecessary, but a very cool thing for him to do. So, and maybe Michael will be joining us on a future For the People Theater Hour with Charlie Schill on Thursday, and I'll get a chance to.
Has he ever been in for a theater hour, or just?
He came in
on another occasion.
No, he came in with Charlie, and we ran through the American Festival Opera lineup.
Oh, that's
this
right.
year.
That's right.
And that was a few months ago that he was in, and we'll see if we can get him back. But I have to point this out too: if you're a Facebook user and follow a group called Cache Valley Memories, and if you're old like me. There is a video. I don't know where someone has taken this video filming their the old Fred Meyer filming their television screen. So it's obviously maybe a family home video. I don't know exactly why.
It wasn't recorded with a smartphone. We know that.
Yeah, here's my guess. Yeah, this is definitely VHS. It's come from VHS, but I'm guessing it's been digitized. Because I don't see a VCR in the mix here, but they probably had some VHS copied over to a digital format, either streaming or even a DVD or Blu-ray. But the old Pizza Hut building. This is
forgot about that.
Here's my guess, Bill. I'm guessing this is someone who got their first VHS camcorder in 1986. And they maybe they purchased it. I can't remember when Lynn's Audio and Video moved from south to north.
Oh, that's right. They were on South Main.
They used to be in South Main. And so here's my guess, total guess on why this video exists. But my guess is they bought their first VHS camcorder at Lynn's Audio and Video on South Main, way down by the Y when they used to be there. I think it's storage sheds now. Maybe it's nothing now.
It was a pawn shop.
Yeah, it was a pawn shop and storage sheds for a while, that old Lynn's building. And Lynn's, of course, moved north, and then they have the separate car audio place out on 10th West now as well. And I'm guessing they bought their camcorder at that South Lynn's Audio and Video in 1986. And this is apparently Christmas time. And some of the decorations I see on Main Street, it is. So before Christmas sometime, 1986. And then they filmed their drive from the Old Man Theater sign. They just went past it here. They filmed their drive from south to north. I mean, literally, this starts on the recording starts before First South as you're going up the hill there, up Main Street, headed north, and they're still filming here and showing from side to side. As they go through 14th North, and I
think there was still where Center Street Grill is. That was a convenience store.
Yep, and it still
sold gas.
It still was there in the video as they went through, and but this is what's funny. So they just went 14th North, and nothing. There is nothing. In fact, it looks like the building that it was the Saddleman for a while, and I don't remember what it is now. That's just being constructed.
Now, where was Cache Valley Horseman?
Oh, Horseman. That's what I'm thinking of. It looks like that building is just being constructed. It's not. And then the Kmart. So 14th North, Zions Bank there on the corner, and then nothing.
When Kmart came in, that was a
everyone
big
said,
deal.
Why are they building way out there? No one's driving that far north.
Yeah.
And now
it's urban.
Yeah, now it's just kind of everybody sees it as kind of an extension of downtown. A really, really fun video. I don't have permission to give the name of the person who posted this to the group, so I won't mention the person's name. But if you visit Cache Valley Memories, you can see it for yourself. Just a really cool walk down memory lane, and just so the video starts at Gia's. No, is it Gia's? Let me see here. Hold on. I don't remember the name. I think it was Gia's. It was Robintino's. Then it was Gia's, and then it closed. It was the upstairs restaurant.
Oh, at the Emporium. It had been Robintino's.
Down the street from the Emporium. was where Robintino's was. The building that sits on First South and Main Street, that is now connected into the same parking lot as Chuckarama.
Okay,
that building right on the corner.
On the other side of the street.
Yeah, there was a Robintino's restaurant there, an Italian restaurant, and then it became, I think it was
Chi-Chi's at one time.
Chi-Chi's, that's what it is. Gia's is across the street. Thank you.
I used to,
Chi-Chi's.
when I was doing cleaning accounts, we had that account.
Yeah.
I cleaned it.
So you can see their sign on there. You can see the Chi-Chi's. Thank you. I couldn't remember.
And then it became Gia's.
And then Gia's.
Yeah.
That's right. Very cool stuff. And I just want, really quick here, I want to see if this is, yes, it is. I can't remember the name of it now. But right on the corner there, the other corner of First South and Main Street was a record store. And I'm trying
Budget Tapes? Or was Budget Tapes gone by then?
I think it might have been.
Are you still talking about South Main?
Yeah, First South.
Oh,
First South
okay.
and Main Street. There was a record store, and it was also when people drug Main. That was also the turnaround point. They'd make a left there just past the. I should look and see if it's still. I don't remember in 1986 if it was still the Capitol Theater. I know it was in 1983. Saw Return of the Jedi there. Davis Carpets, that's an old one too. Just an amazing look at old school. And Bill, I don't remember what this was. This was a furnishing store, but do you remember that color?
I do.
Right across from what's now the Eccles Theater.
It's kind of blurred out. I can't make out any.
I don't remember the
signage.
name of the store, but it might have been Edwards.
Green.
Might have been Edwards Furnishing, but it was like. It was trout belly turquoise.
But did they extend that far south at the time? In the mid 80s?
I see the word furniture here, but I don't remember if it's Edwards Furniture.
I think it must have been.
And then by the way, the gas station at what is now Center Street Grill. Bill, check out the price of gallon on gas there, 74 cents.
Man,
right there on Main Street next to the Tabernacle. And for those that really remember, as you move up Main Street, those old school, hang across the street, fake grass, Christmas decorations. The Logan City would hang across between the Emporium and the Tabernacle there every year. Man, it was just really fun to watch this video. And one other thing to mention, the bad driving on Main Street that you experienced today, it was a thing then, too. I swear in this video.
Well, but with less cars.
Less cars, but still a problem with my least favorite thing. In 1986, as they drive up Main Street, several times they have to... Oh, right here it says the Holly Fair, December 4th and 5th, so this is early December.
Was that over at the Logan Rec Center?
I don't remember the Holly Fair. If anybody remembers what the Holly Fair is, give us a call, 753-5868. I don't remember that. But according to the sign hanging across Main Street, right below those, the fake tinsel and the big star that used to hang over Main Street every Christmas time, there's a big sign that says the Holly Fair, December 4th, 5th, and 6th. And I don't remember that. So give us a call. But yes, as they drive up Main Street, same thing that happens today. Several times they have to brake for someone turning left onto Main Street in the middle of a block, slowing traffic for everyone. So it was a thing even in 1986. 753-5868. Really cool video someone has posted here, bringing back a lot of memories of old school downtown Logan. And you can check it out. I've shared it on our Facebook page, or you can visit the Cache Valley Memories Facebook group and find it for yourself. And we'll be back right after this.
For our military families, Americans can show appreciation through education.
Because of you, I will walk across the stage.
I can show my children that they can succeed at any point in their life.
I would be able to make a positive difference in the lives of other people.
I was able to achieve my dreams and work on eradicate some of the world's top diseases.
I was able to get the education that I always wanted.
Because of you, I will be paying it forward and serving my nation.
Join us at ThanksUSA.org.
Work, school, grocery shopping, doctor's appointments, the gym, to the airport to pick up loved ones, to the kids' soccer games, piano lessons, out for movie night, to hear your favorite band in the city, over to Grandma and Grandpa's house, and on last year's amazing road trip. Your vehicle takes you so many places. Protect it. When you leave your vehicle, remember to always take your keys or key fob with you and lock the doors. If you suspect auto theft, contact the National Insurance Crime Bureau at 1-800-TEL-NICB. That's 1-800-TEL-NICB, or visit our website at www.nicb.org. A public service message from the National Insurance Crime Bureau.
Welcome back to KVN News for the People. Someone pointed this out, and I haven't had a chance to watch this one, but for Providence residents, the same user has posted a Providence and further south on Logan Main Street video as well. It kind of makes me want to go out with mount my phone on a little arm or something like that and just drive Main Street and then sit on that video for about 50 years, 40 years, and then put it online and let people reminisce about the old stores and the...
and it's not as convenient as it is now, because now we all have in our possession this little device that we refer to as our phone. But it's a phone is just one of its hundreds of thousands of things we can do it for. It's a camera. It's a movie camera.
And sometimes the phone part is the least used part of our phone.
But I when I first came here, the first couple of years I was here, I wish I would have recorded some video. But at the time you're just stuck in the moment. You don't think about that sort of thing.
You know what? This is interesting that you bring that up, though, because, and not to knock this great video of Logan Main Street, please go watch it. If you're old like me, it'll bring back memories of just fun to see some of those old stores, and what a time, and way less traffic, though still a problem with people turning left onto Main Street from mid-block, slowing traffic for everyone.
But with less potential impacts.
Probably less accidents then, but still a few people doing it, and I wish we'd all stop. Just don't do it. Turn right if you're mid-block, period. But if I can get UDOT to build a physical median one day, I will just be so happy to stop people from doing that. I swear it would eliminate.
They might name it after you, the Jason Williams median.
Physical median.
Yeah.
From at least 1st South to 14th North, at least.
People just be cursing your name like...
Yeah. I guarantee it would solve 90% of Logan Main Street's traffic problems. Anyway, tangent. This is something I read, and it triggered this in my memory, Bill. Let me find it here. There we go. There is actually something bad about... So Bill mentioned, we're talking about this video and how we wish we had spent more time maybe... filming some things. Or I know my family didn't have a camcorder. They were pretty pricey when they first came out, relative to the times. But I remember...
Some people had the old, 18 millimeter camera, 15 millimeter film cameras.
We actually did have one of those, and I never used it. And it works. I think it's still around in my family somewhere. But they're I don't even know if you can get that film. I'm sure there's somewhere you can send it to, but
might be clear around the world somewhere. But
Polaroids are making a comeback. Maybe this is something we'll see with maybe we'll see photo developing booths pop up again, like the '80s. But kids now are carrying Polaroids. They're smaller, of course, and they're on their wrist, but they print an actual wallet-sized photo, and
then you have to wait for it to develop.
Yeah, you have to shake it in the air. But yeah, this is that's a new trend. But this was an article I read on that, and Bill, you mentioned, and I feel the same way. I have dogs that I wish I would have had a camcorder. I would love to see that dog playing again. This funny thing that the dog I had a dog that used to pull his own hose out He loved water, and I bought him a swimming pool, and he'd play in that swimming pool only when it had a good 6 inches of water in it. But he would want to do that so bad that if I got the pool out and just threw it on the grass, he would go get the hose, pull it out of the reel, drag it all the way over to the pool, and stand there waiting for me to turn it on.
Oh, so he wouldn't go over and turn it on?
No, I wish I'd figured. I thought about figuring out a way for him to do that, and then I thought, I'm going to regret that in like January when he decides it's warm enough.
Yeah, to ice over the
but
yard.
I would love to have video of that just to see it again. And so there are those things that I think that. But then I read this article about memory and our smartphones. And we've all done this, or you've seen somebody do this. You're up, you're seeing the most beautiful thing ever. You're on vacation or something like that, or there's a sunset that's just amazing, and everyone pulls their phones out. If you've been to a concert recently, I watched one guy film almost the entire concert on his phone, and it got so irritating I almost turned into a Karen. I almost marched down a few rows and said, "Sir, really?" I mean, it wasn't really bothering me. It was just annoying me that he was spending the whole concert with his arm up filming this. What? Are you ever going to watch that? No, you're not. In fact, the little bits and pieces you posted on social media that no one can really hear or see because it's grainy and too loud for a cell phone
all
microphone.
You hear is just this loud noise.
No one's watching those. Stop it. Just enjoy the experience. This article is actually talking about that. There is concern. Neurologists first started talking about this, and now human memory experts are sounding the alarm. But there is concern that we're actually changing our ability to remember things with our smartphones. Because your brain, when you pull your phone out and record something, your brain says, "Oh, there's a physical copy of what you just saw.
I don't need to concentrate
I won't waste
on
any
this.
space on that."
Yeah.
Your brain actually does that. You are aware of yourself making a copy of this thing you just experienced in digital format.
So your memory kind of disengages.
Yeah, so your brain sort of puts less energy into writing that in as a core memory. And memory experts believe that this could actually be a problem as the cell phone, and we're talking the generation that's had a cell phone since birth in their pocket. Well, maybe not birth. Well, some people. But there is concern that generation, as they age, that there might be an increase in memory problems, dementia, all kinds of things, because we're remembering everything with our phones now.
Well, my problem is I'll remember things, and in my mind, I think it's accurate how I recall it, how I remember it, and then I'll see some proof, like a video or something. It's like, oh, it wasn't what I thought at all, or it was very different from how I remember it.
Yeah.
So there's always that, too.
That happens to all of us. But yeah, there's a chance our cell phones are actually long-term affecting our memory. So pull your phone out less. I mean, there are those shots you just got to get, right?
But just savor the moment.
But you don't have to film everything. Something to be said for actually just standing there and witnessing it with your own eyes and remembering it later as a fond memory. We'll be back after these headlines with KVNU's Bill Walter.
Thank you, Jason. KVNU News Time is 5:31. A woman who is already suing Operation Underground Railroad founder Tim Ballard in civil court has now filed multiple criminal complaints against him. Celeste Boris and her husband sued OUR in December 2023. Boris has called for a news conference that was scheduled for earlier today to discuss the reports to police. Attorney Suzette Rasmussen said that Boris submitted criminal complaints in 4 California communities: San Clemente, Los Angeles, San Diego, and a suburb of San Jose. Additionally, Rasmussen said Boris contacted police in Linden, Utah, earlier with accusations against Ballard. In a civil suit, Boris accused Ballard of sexual assault and battery in a couple's ruse, ostensibly as part of OUR's anti-human trafficking operations. Tim Ballard has denied all wrongdoing. The Salt Lake Tribune reported Whitney Burstein, a lawyer representing Ballard, called the Boris's allegation an ever-changing shakedown by someone who said she was in love with Tim and that facts will tell a much different story. Operation Underground Railroad, a defendant in the Boris civil action, has also filed a counterclaim against her alleging defamation. Meanwhile, Rasmussen said another woman who filed a criminal complaint against Ballard has agreed to reveal her identity. Kira Lynch, according to Rasmussen, reported her allegations to the Utah County Sheriff's Office. It's unknown what police have done in response to the claims, though the Utah Attorney General's office said it has launched a criminal investigation against Ballard. 4 officers were involved in a shooting while attempting to apprehend a suspect at a northern Utah gas station. Officials said they responded at about 3:42 in the afternoon on Sunday to a Sinclair gas station on Riverdale Road in Riverdale. According to a press release, the Weber Morgan Narcotic Strike Force and Ogden Metro Gang Unit were assisting the Utah County Major Crimes Unit to apprehend an attempted homicide suspect at the location. Police did not provide additional information about the suspect's condition or what led up to the shooting. They said the shooting involved 3 Ogden police officers and 1 Pleasant View police officer. Weber County officials are conducting an independent investigation. And Utah State men's basketball is ranked number 16 now in the AP poll, number 17 in the coaches poll as of today. Utah State is the only Mountain West team ranked in the AP poll this week. The Aggies are 16-1, including a 4-0 Mountain West mark under first-year USU head coach Danny Sprinkle. Overall, it's the 10th time in school history that Utah State has been nationally ranked. USU's highest ever ranking was 1960, when it was number 7 in the nation. It is the highest ranking for Utah State since it was 15th in the AP poll during the 2019-2020 campaign. USU was ranked 20th in last week's AP poll and number 23 in last week's coaches poll. Utah State coming off a 87-86 thrilling road victory at UNLV. They've won 15 straight games, which is tied for the longest active streak in the nation. Utah State returns to action tomorrow night at New Mexico in the pit against the Lobos in a game that will be nationally televised on Fox Sports 1. Tip-off is scheduled for 8:30. Al Lewis will be on with Game Day at 7:30. That's tomorrow night here on KVNU. News time is 4:35.
This is a special report from ABC News, the Iowa caucuses. I'm Chuck Sievertson. Only back in July, he said he wouldn't do business with Donald Trump. Now, former businessman, former rival for the Republican nomination, and North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum does political business, endorsing the former president in Iowa.
He's the person that can lead this country in the right direction on the economy, on energy, national security, and I think you're going to see that come through loud and clear tonight.
On Mr. Trump, President Biden marking Martin Luther King Jr. Day on the Reverend Al Sharpton's radio show.
Trump is saying things that are just off the wall. He is most anti-democratic with a small d president in American history.
ABC News political director Rick Klein.
If Donald Trump doesn't win, it's a huge upset. He is almost certainly going to win. The question is by how much? The record was only about 13 points. So if he does substantially better than that, you're going to hear about a Trump blowout and a potential narrowing in the field.
This is ABC News.
KVNU weather for tonight. We do have a wind chill warning in effect from 9 p.m. this evening to 9 a.m. Tuesday morning for dangerously cold wind chills from -10 to -20. Air temperature overnight tonight around -2. And then tomorrow, partly sunny skies, some patchy fog overnight, by the way. And tomorrow, partly sunny and mid-20s for the high. Snow in the forecast for late Tuesday night into Wednesday. Could be mixed in with some rain on Wednesday, with the high temperature expected to be in the mid-30s. Far from that today, 19 has been our high. It's 13 degrees currently at KBNU. KBNU weather brought to you by U&I Furniture. They just took in all the showroom furniture at a big discount from name brand manufacturers. Bookcases and TV consoles, some with built-in fireplaces. Occasional tables, bedroom and dining room sets, all in stock and discounted now. Always a better buy at U&I, downtown Logan, 28 West, 1st North. You can always get more news at CashValleyDaily.com.
Ever felt judged at the gym?
You don't know how to use the leg curl machine? Are you serious? Is this your first day alive? No, it's okay. I love helping people during their first day on Earth.
At Planet Fitness, get energy without the judgment and join the judgment-free zone. Never intimidating, always free fitness training and equipment for every workout. Get energized today during the Big Fitness Energy Sale for 24 cents down, $10 a month. Cancel anytime. Deal extended through Friday, January 19th. See Home Club for details.
Hi, everybody. This is Gary Sullivan from At Home with Gary Sullivan. I hope you can join us this weekend where we take calls about your home projects. Plus, got some great tips on patching your concrete, painting, fixing up the deck, and even increasing the curb appeal of your home. Really hope you can join us this weekend. There's a lot of great information to help you protect the biggest investment of your life. At Home with Gary Sullivan.
Saturday nights at 7 on News Talk KVNU, 102 FM and 610 AM.
Welcome back to KVN News for the People. Have you ever seen the episode of The Office where in The Office, Dunder Mifflin Paper Company shares an office building. Their offices are located in a building where there's also a construction company office location, refrigeration company. So it's this big office complex, but the parking lot is shared. And one, I don't remember which, I think one of the companies is undergoing some renovations in their offices, and all the construction workers are taking the parking spots. And so the Dunder Mifflin employees who get there the last, because that's one of the running jokes of the Dunder Mifflin Paper Company, is they all come in at 10:30 and leave at 4, and yet their company's struggling. Anyway, they have to walk 3 blocks. That's the next available parking lot, and it's this huge issue, and there's almost this war between the companies that breaks out, and there's a meeting of the 5 families. It's a hilarious episode. We've got a lot of renovations happening here, and during the day, a lot of these trucks here for the walls or the carpet or the new studio equipment or demolition or whatever it might be, they have to be close to the door. And I just laugh as I park in the back lot. Walking in, I think of that Office episode every day. Luckily, I need the steps, so I haven't complained. But, man, there's a lot going on here. It's exciting stuff. If you've been to our station as a guest or as you've been maybe here purchasing ads for your business or just a tour, we sometimes do tours here, it's going to look a lot different than last time you saw it. But as you've heard,
we're modernizing.
Yeah, that's as you've heard through PSAs that we've been running, kind of prepping everybody for this. If there are some glitches, if there's the occasional, if for a couple of weeks Bill and I sound a lot different, like maybe we're in a different room and there's more of an echo or. Because they've had to put us in the bathroom for a show that day, that's not going to happen. But it could. It's just
probably flushing sounds only during the commercial breaks, I guess.
But yeah, that's right. But it's one of the most unique things I've ever seen. Because if you're out there right now and you work for or own a business that has undergone renovations, a lot of businesses, you can be closed for a day or two or a week or two. I mean, it's not pleasant, and your bottom line might take a hit, and your customers and clients might be annoyed, but you'll with enough prep time, you can get through it, and it happens. Everybody understands. But a radio station, and even more difficult, 7 of them, 8 of them, you can't shut down. So this has been one of the most fascinating things I've ever watched. And the organization and planning that's gone into this have been just amazing. But trying to keep every radio station running and operating because you can't shut down, while at the same time gutting studios and rebuilding them entirely, it's it's been really fascinating to watch. But again, as you've heard Eric say in the PSAs we're running, hoping to kind of brace people for this a little bit, if things are a little rough occasionally on certain days, forgive us. We'll eventually be through this and working with brand new equipment. Bill's sweating every time I say new equipment because he's the one that has to be trained. I'll have to be trained too, probably as a backup. But you're the one that has to learn all of this. And we've seen the new equipment, and it looks like the mothership.
I'm just gonna press buttons.
Just mash things.
I wonder what this does.
Yeah, that's it. Really does. The new equipment is super cool looking, but it's a little intimidating too. Lots more knobs. And a lot more buttons and a lot more LED displays and a lot more, but it's a
lot more screen prompts on there where you can change it. So
one of the things I think that'll be great about this is it'll allow us to sort of produce things a little bit more, as I understand it. We'll have we're not going to abuse this, but I was told that we'll have the ability to have sound effects. We're just going to have a toilet flushing sound. That's it, and we're just gonna
play it all the time.
Anytime a guest says something I even mildly don't like, until we have no listeners left. I'm kidding. I don't know if you've ever listened to one of those morning shows. There's one that runs. I won't name them, but there's one that runs out of Salt Lake that is doing it's two guys making middle school jokes and then these sound effects, and I'm like, oh man, this is so. It is nasty, but we won't do that. No, it's going to be nice, and I'm excited to finally get over this hump. It's been planned for years and building up to it for years. But again, part of the reason this takes so long is you can't shut a radio station down. You have to keep operating somehow while gutting and renovating every studio in the building, from VFX to us here at KVNU. And I've forgotten the schedule. I don't remember when. I know I've been looking over there at the Cool 103.9 studio. I know that happens before ours.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to...
Last I heard, that was my understanding.
So I'm not going to really get nervous until I see Cool being gutted. VFX has already been gutted and rebuilt. That happened so fast. Anyway, it's amazing to watch this happen. But again, if things are a little rough, a little rocky, if Bill and I sound funny one day or for a day or two or a week... just bear with us. This is a massive undertaking here, and it's going to be so cool when it's done. And then we'll sound even better. So, 753-5868. I'd love to get listeners weighing in on this one, even though it is a topic that, when I understand, but when someone says zoning, my brain just goes, oh, nap time. Let me know when this conversation's over. But zoning is about to get really interesting in every city in Utah because the legislative session kicks off tomorrow. And we've talked a lot about some of the key issues to watch during the legislative session. Water, of course, housing, of course. The first 2 weeks are going to be dominated by silly culture war bills so that those with higher office aspirations can pat themselves on the back, and they abuse the legislative process every year. There's always a handful of lawmakers who do. Once that's out of the way, you're going to see the legislature get down to some of this more boring nuts and bolts stuff, but it's important. And that's going to include, what to do with money that's been set aside for water planning, water conservation, saving the Great Salt Lake. It's going to include a big debate over what the state can and should or shouldn't do when it comes to housing and housing affordability. We have a big problem with this in Utah. And the consensus is, I'm not saying I agree or disagree with this, but the consensus is this isn't a situation where we can sit back and just let the market take care of it. That's going to take too long. And we're going to see a decline in workforce. We're going to see businesses wanting to locate elsewhere. And right now we're in a boom of businesses wanting to locate here. The problem is that also means those businesses are attracting a lot of people to stay in the state or migrate from out of state. More so, stay in the state. We have a very high birth rate in Utah. Although it leveled off a bit this year, the trend over the last 10 years has been about 1.5% to 2% of birth rate in growth each year. Growth of rate each year. Utah has a big and young population, and they all eventually, if they haven't already, are graduating high school or college and looking for a place to live. Compounded by the price of housing right now because of a housing shortage. And sure, you can dig into the who's to blame for this. Maybe the Utah lawmakers should have got on this even early. Yes, they should have. But at the same time, they're pretty limited, no matter when they start, on what they can do. The state can't just wave a magic wand and suddenly, boom, there's new houses everywhere. Now, they do have a lot of money to put towards this, to incentivize new construction, to incentivize first-time home buyers by making it a little more affordable for them. And they've already done some of those things, and they could maybe keep doing it or even do a little more of it. But one big issue that they've kind of put off, they've hinted at debating it and put off, and now officially are going to get into this session. It's actually already on the leadership agenda. We'll hear more about this tomorrow as Speaker of the House Mike Schultz kicks off the session with the presentation. I can't talk about what he's going to say because the copy I got was embargoed, so I can't get into details. But there is a great Deseret News article on this just a couple of days ago, and it confirms Mike Schultz himself quoted in the article saying this is going to be something we finally, well, he said his exact quote in the Deseret News story yesterday, this is a can of worms we've put off opening for too long, and we're finally going to rip the lid off. Acknowledging that this is not going to be easy. What is it? Zoning law in Utah. Or rather, and I think this is a key word to use, zoning ordinance. Because zoning traditionally has been something that when you think zoning, after you think, I'll have a nap, let me know when you're done talking about this, the next thing you think of is city, right? City level governance. Cities decide zoning laws. And what's happening in the legislature right now is interesting. Everyone, for the most part, agrees that we need to make some changes to zoning laws at the city level to increase density in areas where single-family dwellings were zoned as the only allowable type of new construction. Also, penalties and incentives related to housing targets that are sometimes put in place by cities to encourage construction or construction by a certain time, to basically discourage developers from buying land, starting construction, then sitting on it till the prices are higher. Or lower in this case is what we're looking for, but usually they sit on it until the prices are higher. Cities sometimes institute penalties. If you can do that, it's not illegal, but you'll pay a fine to the city basically if you aren't building housing because you're waiting to see if you can make a little more money off of the houses when you get around to finishing them and selling them, which has been a problem before in not just Utah, everywhere. So those are some of the things that usually are discussed around zoning. What's going to be different right now is this is the first time ever that the state is taking it up. Let me translate that. The state taking it up means we are looking at statewide zoning policy. It's the only thing the legislature can do. Now, there's some gray area in between. They have tried, hey, cities, we encourage you to address and reform your zoning ordinance to allow for higher density housing, to reduce the number of low density only construction areas inside your city limits. We've got to get serious about the statewide housing goals we've set as a legislature. That's kind of where the conversation has played out so far. What's going to be different this year is state lawmakers are going to dig into zoning policies themselves at the city level. This comes after a report that was out late last year. We talked about it here on the show. You can still download it. The report said basically that some cities in Utah, quote, use their broad authority over land use and development to circumvent legislative policy changes to encourage more housing being built. Basically, statewide audit commissioned by the legislature said some cities are actually throwing a wrench in the works. And so that has lawmakers mulling the idea of the state legislature saying, all right, cities, we'll tell you how it's going to be done, at least for the time being. Every city has a reason to fear that. Because, as lawmakers like to say when they campaign for office, at least, a one-size-fits-all solution isn't always the best. Sometimes it is, but not always. Is it in this case? The state is going to consider statewide rules that say you must zone this way to encourage the construction of more housing, low density and otherwise. But with a focus on more low density, because that's what we don't have a lot of in a lot of parts of the state yet. And the legislature, of course, will promise in the future will readdress this and undo it if necessary. There's another school of thought, which the Speaker of the House, Mike Schultz himself, has embraced recently in another interview with the Salt Lake Tribune. He said, I don't know that the state should be dictating zoning policy to the cities. I think the cities know what they're doing. So you have these two different schools of thought. You have the Speaker of the House, who's a person with a lot of power in the House, and I'm not sure if the Senate president agrees, or I don't know where the governor is on this. Neither one has spoken up. But the Speaker of the House at least has said he doesn't think the state should be telling cities how to zone. But he is acknowledging that there's a problem with some cities dragging their feet or even intentionally throwing a wrench in the works to discourage the construction of especially low-density housing, townhomes and apartments, which Speaker Schultz said we need a lot of right now. For starter homes, for newlyweds, for people just out of college or high school starting their life on their own, they can't afford a home. They maybe can't afford a home for 5 to 10 years, at current prices especially. But even before prices got this high, a lot of people are in that situation. So they need somewhere to live if they're going to stay and work in Utah. And we want them to stay and work in Utah. So more homes, more high-density areas have to be zoned. And cities, the audit said, are not necessarily playing along. This is going to be huge. So the Utah League of Cities and Towns has already promised a fight if the legislature tries to override cities' decision-making power in this. They said, they pointed out that in the audit there were some good things cities were doing, and maybe we should focus on those things. The report itself said density does not always equate to more affordable or less affordable home ownership. But cities have reported examples where they have zoned for smaller lots and has been produced, and the market has produced large housing units on those small lots that end up not being affordable at the same time. So that's another challenge for the state. Sure, you can force every city to zone a certain way. You can get a lot of high-density housing built, but if prices don't come down fast enough, they sit empty. And then the single-family homes sit empty. And then suddenly you have a housing surplus because most of your workforce has moved somewhere else because they can't afford to live here. It's a really, really complex problem, and Speaker of the House Mike Schultz says the legislature is going to open this can of worms this year and possibly start telling cities how they zone for housing. This will be the first in Utah throughout the history of our state. And other states who've gone in this direction have had mixed results. What do you think? 753-5868. Should the state legislature do this? We'll be back right after this.
When it comes to home care, it's important to know you have a choice. If you or a loved one is in need of hospice or home health services, remember that Primrose Home Care and Hospice believes in treating the patient as well as the problem. We work directly with you and your doctor to create a health plan that's catered to your needs. Our team is devoted to providing options in the freedom and safety of your own home. Visit us at primrosecare.com or call to schedule a free consultation. Primrose Home Care and Hospice, your local hospice and home health provider since 2006.
If I could be you.
And you could be me?
For just 1 hour.
If you could find a way.
To get inside.
Each other's mind.
Walk a mile in my shoes. Walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
We've all felt left out. And for some, that feeling lasts more than a moment. We can change that. Learn how at belongingbeginswithus.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Hey, it's Glenn Beck. Join Lyle Boss on his Safe Money radio show. He talks about how you can get substantial bonuses on your retirement accounts and so much more. You also can call Lyle right now for his new Safe Money Miracle Book
And a complimentary appointment for an inflation-proof audit of your current retirement plan.
Call Lyle Boss, president of Boss Financial, 855-355-SAFE. That's 855-355-7233.
Join Lyle Boss and Safe Money Radio, Saturdays at 10 a.m. on KVNU.
I can't believe my plea for listeners to call in and discuss zoning law didn't just have our phone lines lighting up. No, I know this isn't the most exciting topic, but honestly, people, I hope this is setting in as the legislature begins this debate, because you're talking about the legislature telling your city how to zone, which means the decision is not your city's any longer, which means, if so, there was an example recently, and I still think it's unfortunate the project folded, but I get why. There was an example recently in Providence where a big multi-use development or multi-housing type development was proposed, but it happened to be on the edge of the city. And one of the reasons that I thought was most reasonable that residents raised concern is that we're talking a lot of new people and a lot of new cars on a road that was not built for that. A little barely two-lane road that didn't even have room for a striped line down the middle. And that was going to dump directly into another city who would then be dealing with all that traffic. And I don't think the developers had invited people into the conversation enough. That's just my take. The project itself, though, was a good design, and it's unfortunate that it got tweaked and changed to the point where it was greatly scaled back. We need this type of housing. But as messy as that whole scenario was, and everyone got to weigh in there in Providence. Residents got to speak. Residents of River Heights got to speak. City councils had a chance to sit down and talk between each other. The state is talking about ending all of that and just passing a statewide law that just tells cities how this is all going to be done. You can complain all you want to your city council members, and they'll only be